Hey guys, this is Venkat for productstartups.com, a community for SaaS founders, entrepreneurs, marketers, and UX designers. Today I have with me Rob, who's UX designer for the past 10 years. He has been into UX design, UI design, product management, user texting, and of course, you can ping him if you need recommendations for craft beer. And of course, Rob is also selling something called Better UX Playbook, which is why I requested him for this meetup, and he immediately agreed. He is the head of marketing at Nuom. And yes, Rob, give us a small introduction about yourself.
Yeah, like I said, my name's Rob. I've been a UX designer, around 10 years now. I've started off in e-commerce, so started off as a web front end sort of stuff, doing e-commerce websites. Back when people used to call it web design, and you'd be a web designer with some title. I still think of myself as that title quite a lot, to be honest. But that was where I sort of started off, doing websites for people's businesses, large businesses, kind of working for agencies, and then moved into kind of more UX stuff. Worked for a few big companies where I'm based, and mostly retail companies, and worked on their product things really, and a bit more about the kind of wider impact of design. And now over the last probably about 3 or 4 years, I've worked almost exclusively with startups, especially early stage startups, mostly working on MVPs, 0 to 1 stuff, helping startups kind of validate ideas, build MVPs and design them. My previous company, in my job, I used to work for a global tech services company that was located all around the world. They had an office in Bangalore, actually.
Okay.
And they basically, my job there was to go around. They had big tech service clients, Burberry, 2K Games, huge clients. But my job was, they also invested in startups. So my job was to go around and kind of work with these startups to help them build MVPs, do UX reviews, talk to users, learn what they want, learn how to improve retention, improve adoption, basically get happier customers really, to try and improve the value of a lot of these startups. And that's what I did for about 2 or 3 years. And I realized that's my favorite part of doing UX design. I worked on a lot of big teams before that. And really my favorite part is to do that kind of early stage stuff with kind of a cross-functional mixed team. And that's what I do in my job as head of design at Nuom. In my day job, we exclusively work with early stage startups, mostly in the UK and Europe, but also sometimes worldwide, about helping them validate ideas and build MVPs and grow those MVPs really.
Great. Yeah, Rob. So how did you start your career in design?
So I started coding when I was about 14. So it was 14 years ago. So I just learned from just messing around on the web. I kind of like picked up a book from a cousin. I think he was learning HTML. I just picked it up, needed something to do, so started writing in Notepad and making things in tables and stuff like that. And then when I was at school, MySpace was a big thing. I'm not sure if people remember that, but you could basically make your own websites, make your own pages and stuff. And I was the person in my school class who could do that essentially. Just doing there, and it was just a hobby. It was just a hobby. I used to like make small businesses with my friends and try and sell stuff, and basically didn't do anything for a while. Got a normal job, and then basically realized like I wanted to do this. I found out that you could do this job. I always thought it was like a side thing that you could do. So I went to university, studied design, then got into the agency world and kind of worked. It's always been something I've been interested in, but up until like I said, about 10 years ago, I didn't think it could be a career. I kind of just fell into that sort of part of it really, but it was always just a passion of mine that I just loved learning. Started with coding, then went in, just loved trying different things and learning off people off the internet, learning off people reading blogs and things like that. So yeah, it's all propelled really.
Great. So Rob, tell us about your experience as a head of design at Nuom.
So it's been really interesting. It's my first time as head of design with that title. I've been a senior designer, but it's the first time kind of managing other designers. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot more like, there's one thing being able to be a contributor and do design on your own and be able to lead that, which is one thing, but be able to like mentor and teach other people and really rewarding and challenging actually. So it's been really good, but yeah, my role is normally to help work directly with to try and help them form product strategy and UX strategy, and then work with our designers, our side, and their tech team and their to execute that. So I'm much more high level than I have been in the past, but like I said, that's kind of what I mostly enjoy, and I'm able to kind of learn more about the business and product side of it now. I'm a lot closer to that bit, so that brings with it its own challenges, but yeah, it's really, really exciting. It's been a really interesting career.
Great. So how big is the team at Nuom, Rob?
15 of us, we're quite small. There's I've got a team of 3 designers, and then the rest are mobile engineers, web engineers, cloud engineers, that kind of stuff. So we're relatively small, which is how we like it. So it's about 15, 16 of us.
Okay. And what made you get the idea to do this Better UX Playbook?
So it came from conversations, really. So this is a list that I've kept from, well, built up over the last 10 years, but kept properly for over probably the last 3 or 4. When I was working, going around from startup, I kept picking up these same type of problems, same kind of improvements that kept coming up. I'd see in different products that we improve something here, we can improve retention this way, and just started keeping this list privately. But as I was talking to a lot more founders directly, I found out that UX has this reputation of being something that either you can figure out after your MVP and it's like a layer icing on the cake you can pick up, or it's something that requires a huge amount of effort and this massive sort of and this kind of mystified process that you need to spend 6 months researching, which is partly true, but it's not 100% true. There's a lot of individual little things, and there's a lot of data out there and best practices that anyone can pick up and apply to their products, and that I've done time and time again, just going in and these different processes that you can apply to any product. And actually people have a understanding of how UX can actually impact the growth of a startup as well. We know, and there's lots of data to back up this, and I go through this in the product, about how UX can be directly linked to improving retention, producing adoption, and also just making customers happier, which obviously sharing referrals and things like that. So it came from basically having conversations, me realizing that it doesn't have to be as big of a project as you think to do UX and improve it. You can apply these strategies and plug them straight into your product and see the results straight away.
I appreciate it. Rob, since you've been working with lots of startups, I believe, could you please share some experiences, like the principles, design principles you apply when you work on a product for startups? Yeah.
So first thing is to understand if you've got customers and you've got existing users, how they feel about the product. The best way is just to go talk to them, which is obviously requires effort, but you should be building up that dialogue all the time. The 2 kinds of data that you want to be able to get, because the best thing about making UX improvements is get data on this, is to look at quantitative data, so analytics, and qualitative data, which is talking to people basically. So they're the best things to really understand where your product is, but to actually make those improvements, that requires testing things out. Try A/B testing, trying different things, which again is one of the reasons why I released this Better UX Playbook, because there's over 100 strategies in there that you can just literally go and A/B test. You can prototype, you can sit down with someone and say, okay, if we did the app like this versus like this, which one do you prefer? So really UX in itself is all about learning, and that goes double for startups, because you're constantly changing and trying different things. You want to constantly be testing your own ideas, never get too attached to one thing, and just try lots of different things and try and see how people work with it, because over time you'll start understanding what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. Rob, having said that, since how long have you been selling Better UX Playbook?
Literally, this is the first week.
So, yeah, I discovered it too early, I believe. Anyway, I'm happy about it. But who should buy Better UX Playbook, and what do they benefit from the book?
So originally, it's built for founders, so people bootstrapping their own product. But it is equally as effective if you've already got a established startup. These are something you can, if you've got a design, like maybe a solo designer or a design contractor on your team and stuff, you can work with them to use these strategies. But one thing I have been talking to people about that I did consider, but I didn't realize the actual potential of it. But more and more I am is, if you work with clients, if you're a consultant, design consultant, product consultant, startup consultant, whatever it is, you can take these and actually use them to actually help improve your client's product. You can literally, like I said, take them, give them 5 strategies, help them improve them. So it's kind of got a mix of different people who can use it, but it was originally built for bootstrappers and early stage founders to kind of improve their UX without having to, spend a ton of money bringing in a whole design team or design studio and like doing everything all in one go.
Yeah. Do you want to share your experience you had with, a memorable experience working for a startup?
Right, say that again.
Do you want to share any memorable experience you had while working on a startup?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the thing about working with startups, especially in the design space, is that a lot of times it feels like you do, and you do need to get things out there and get things out on the market for people to use them, basically. But the thing is, all it takes is a bit of a slight adjustment, is to not think of UX as this kind of afterthought, but up into small little bits. So try and constantly just keep adding value over time, all the time. And again, that's why I think the strategy than myself is really good, just to keep looking at certain product areas. Like, okay, for these few weeks, we'll look at the onboarding, we'll tweak that. Then next we'll look at something else and just go around in this cycle and try and break it down into these small little bits. And keep, like I said before, keep getting feedback to see what works and what doesn't, because some things will work for certain products and won't work. The best thing is just to try lots of different things and get feedback to see what works, because that's the best. That's how UX designers work at top level. That's what they do. And there's no reason that founders themselves or even more independent UX designers or consultants can't do that as well. Because getting data and trying these different things out is the best way to find out what works in a product.
Right. So how can someone reach you, Rob?
Yeah, so they can find me on Twitter at my name is Rob. I'm starting to go on Twitter a little bit more now, so you can reach me there. Or they can go on to the betteruxplaybook.com, and then my email address and contact tools on there as well. Yeah, so those are 2 places.
Okay. Appreciate the conversation, Chris. We had, this is the first UX designer feature I'm doing for product startups community. We'll be doing a lot of stuff like this in the weeks to come. This is Rob with us with over 10 years of UX design experience. He has been advising startups and doing amazing work out there right from the UK. You can go check out his amazing 100 tips for UX designers at Better UX Playbook. Thank you so much, Rob. Wish you good luck for all that you've been doing. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for talking to me. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.